What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Sec Tech Podcast. This is called the solo episode. Ken is off on his holiday adventures. The Dark Wizard is in the forest. He's coming up with new ideas, I liken him to the character from Despicable Me. You know, he's in his lair with all of his minions, aka his children, and they're plotting against the world. So we'll see Ken coming back at the start of the year. He's going to have some great stuff for us. But, we're wrapping up the year. And for a topic today, really what I wanted to do is I just wanted to talk about to put a cap on a lot of conversations that we've had over the year about as a business, as somebody who's looking for digital transformation, or just a developer, a product owner. Where we go in 2024 is the question we're all asking. And one of the big questions that everybody is asking is, how do I get the most out of this next year? And I think that the answer to that is going to be getting the best out of your current team. A lot of companies are looking at digital transformation in a way where we're asking ourselves, do I need to add more resources? And I think truly one of the best things that we can do is a podcast that is really trying to enhance everybody's understanding, from the C-suite to the managers, to the developers, to the product owners, to the project managers, to, the Scrum Masters. We're really trying to ask ourselves the question, how can we do more in 2024 just with the resources that we have in-house? And I think the answer to that is going to be, what are you doing to make your team better? And oftentimes that's a hard question for a lot of people to answer, because, you when it comes to how do I make my software engineers better? Well, I'm not a developer, right? If you're a manager or C-suite, it's like, I need them to figure out how to get better. And that's not a bad answer. But the truth is, I don't know if it's quite a sufficient answer anymore because of the amount of resources that are available. There's a great leader out there. He's a pastor. His name's Groeschel. He does a leadership podcast, and he always talks about how organizations fall to the level of their systems. And that's so true. What system is in place for your teams? And the answer to that is going to be the answer to your productivity question. How do I get the most out of my software engineers? Well, what systems are in place for your software engineers currently, right? What systems are they following? What is the code review system that you have in place? You don't need to be technical just to ask the question, who looks at code before it gets into production? Do you have a lot of bugs after your software team publishes things? Well, maybe we got to look at the review process. Or maybe it's just, we're not moving at the pace that we want to move at. Well, there's a lot of great things out there for people to learn. One of my favorites right now, if you're using heavy JavaScript, there's a phenomenal SaaS content company called Frontend Masters that really doesn't, a lot of junior developers, a lot of people coming out of boot camps. I came out of a boot camp. Boot camps do a really good job of telling you, in this situation, type this code. What Frontend Masters does, it says, why does code work the way it works, and when should you use what? That's a far better solution to getting the most out of your software engineers when they just simply understand what they're doing, right? There's Coursera, there's Udemy. There's so many things out there that can increase competency within the team that you have now, which would really lead to a lot of really beneficial results. But the thing that I always go back to again is the system. Now, systems are always a very nuanced question in software. I've learned that just in 4 years of being in this software space, that oftentimes when we think about the system, we think about Agile. And what's common right now in Agile? Well, I'm looking, there's a very popular programming website, content, blogs, articles, whatever you want to call it, called Medium. And, I was just reading something the other day that got published this month on Medium, which was like Agile is dead. No, Agile is not dead. And, the only case that they kind of made was like Agile is dead because a lot of companies are laying off product teams. Well, a lot of companies laid off software engineers too, but software is not going anywhere. And I don't think Agile is either. The question is Agile effective in your environment? Well, what process of Agile are you following? You can very easily go and look up, Scrum Alliance is a really big educator on the Agile methodology. And they give out certified Scrum product owner certifications, and they have courses for that. So, are you using Agile with whoever's holding your Agile system, your process, your product owner, project manager, whoever it is, are they well-versed? Do they understand product ownership? Do they understand Agile? Agile is exactly what it sounds like. It's Agile. It's flexible. You can adapt your Agile system to whatever your needs are. Oftentimes what have seen and found, working in a consulting agency, going into companies, is that they say they follow Agile, but the thing is, a lot of their key concepts don't actually follow Agile is just a few core concepts that are flexible depending on your business environment. Oftentimes what happens is that the business will adapt their Agile flow 2 years ago, and they're still using these basic methodologies that worked for the company 2 years ago, but they don't work today. And so maybe the question is, how are we going to adapt our Agile methodology in 2024 to be more suited for the work that we're doing now, not the work that we were doing, right? Because going back to waterfall is not going to be a great approach, right? I mean, all you're going to do is define a bunch of scopes of work in the first quarter of 2024, get to the third and fourth quarter and realize that you had to change everything that you first worked on in the forefront of 2024. And I think you're going to get to the back end of 2024 going, we spent all this time planning when we could have just been going, and we really didn't arrive at a better outcome. So, what do we need to do to be successful in digital transformation 2024? Well, I think what we need to do for a lot of companies is maybe just get together at the first of the year and go, okay, what systems are working? What systems are not working? And how are we going to adapt those systems? And then with a team collaboration as a part of that, with some key stakeholders kind of making some overall decisions about the system. Now, what you can do is you can hold your developers, whether you understand what they're doing or not, accountable to the outcomes of your system. Not necessarily to, did you write X lines of code this year, but really, are you guys adhering to the system in which we have in place that checks our process, our Agile process, our day-to-day process, that checks our code that's going in, that checks our deployment strategies, that checks our efficiency and optimization? All of these things have systems that work. Okay. One very easy thing that you can ask your developers, they're saying, man, we're just, how do we get the most out of our development? How do we make sure we don't have more bugs? A very simple question, whether you understand code or not, is, are you testing? Testing is really, really important in software. If you have a big problem of bugs that get introduced every time that you do a code push, if you have issues where things don't work after, they said that they were going to work, well, very simple question to ask them is, did you write a test for this? And if so, Well, now you might have more of a competency issue if that test wasn't written well or the scopes aren't defined. Okay, so software engineer understood what they needed to do. They wrote a test, but the test wasn't necessarily right, and so we went into production. Well, that's not a software engineering problem. That's a product owner problem, right? Because now what basically you're saying is that user acceptance criteria was passed down that wasn't right. The developer wrote a test for that implementation. The test passed. It passed user acceptance with the code and got into production, but it wasn't right. So now why is the product owner, does the product owner have clarity? Where did the product owner get these, this feature from? And was there clarity there? So it's very easy to know where your breakdowns are simply by being able to catalog the systems that you have in place for your developers. And, I think that that's going to be a huge topic going forward. A lot of people want to talk about AI. And, is AI going to replace software engineers? Well, not the good ones. Not the ones who know what code is doing in the background. Now, if you're just one of these, a developer that just kind of knows, I put this here that iterates through data. Cool. Yeah, AI is going to be able to figure out how to do that though, but why it does what it does, how to type check, how, just how memory works, how the execution context work. I'm speaking as a JavaScript developer. So, it's kind of just, I know if you're a C sharp, a C Microsoft Suite type person, maybe you code in Python, whatever. The same is true. Do you really know what code it does in the background? If not, yeah, a lot of like how to write this function that returns this thing. Yeah, AI is kind of figuring that out. I have GitHub Copilot and it's pretty right. It's not bad. But the people who really know why code works the way it works, those people are never going anywhere. It's a lot like, if we were building a bridge, I don't expect everyone to understand the physics of, how a foundational pillar works, but the guy in charge, like the engineer, better know how physics works. He better understand weight to ratio capacities for the base. He better know what type of equipment can hold, let's say it's a big bridge and 40 cars can fit on it. You better know, how that foundation works. Now, the people who put that bridge together might not fully understand those things, but someone has to, right? Software is no different. If you just need someone to put some stuff together, sure, you're going to be able to find that. In 10 years, I do think AI is going to be able to do that. But what about the people who know how the physics of that bridge works, how spacing works, how all of that comes together? You can't replace that guy, or girl. You can't replace that person. And so software is not going to be any different. And there's also a lot of, talk around just the types of technology you're going to use. Those are very minute decisions at this point that your team, in my opinion, shouldn't focus too hard on, because at the end of the day, your team wants to go with Microsoft. Cool. I can write JavaScript in Microsoft. That's what Angular's for. Blazor does some cool stuff now. React's not going anywhere. TypeScript's not going anywhere. Again, despite the blogs, right? I can go find you blogs saying, TypeScript is dead. TypeScript's not going anywhere. Some other tools are coming up that are great as well. Flow and I never know how to say Svelte, something like that. Those are great. Those are just type checking systems. TypeScript might replace those or whatever, but I think ultimately the question becomes for all of us, it's not necessarily about the what. It's about the system. It's about our is our structure currently, is our system in place and at a level where we're going to be able to scale where we want to go in 2024. I think if you can answer that question, you're going to be a lot better off as a team. I think your teams are going to be a lot happier and there's going to be a lot more clarity. And I know that for a lot of teams, the problem is that you have some legacy people in your team, and, you know, they've been around for a long time. And it's hard to get those people, it's hard to get a lot of people to adopt a new system. But at the end of the day, if they're not willing to get uncomfortable, you know, yeah, you know, I don't know what you want to do there, but at the end of the day, we all go to, you know, if you're listening to this podcast and you're a part of digital transformation teams, it means you have a job. It means we all got to go to work. And you know what? If we got to learn as software engineers, you know, if we've got to slow down long enough to really define our system so that we can be more effective, you just, you know, you got to make it happen. Right. Same with the product owner and same with your C-suite. You know, the question that you have to ask yourself, I think as well, if you're a C-suite type person listening to this is, you know, is my involvement in the team and in the outcomes, you know, am I really letting the subject matter experts help me drive towards outcomes, or am I getting so far in the weeds of not just the outcomes, but what they're doing to get to the outcomes that I'm actually making it harder for them to work? And on the other side of that, am I too far away that there's the communication, the clarity, isn't really there? There's a great book called Extreme Ownership. It was written by a Navy SEAL, a couple of Navy SEALs, and really good book. You know, some Navy SEALs who kind of take some of the team philosophies from the SEALs and apply them in a business consulting way. But, you know, they had a really good story where, you know, there was this manager who's just really excited about this incentive program that they were offering for employees that would incentivize employees to work harder. Right. So it was kind of an efficiency reward system for productivity. The problem is that it was so complicated that the employees couldn't really understand how they were benefiting. They were just like, some days my check is $200 more from the incentive program. Sometimes $500. I don't really know why I'm being rewarded. And the problem ended up being that the manager was too distant. Her voice was too far away from the team. You know, she was relying on multiple layers of management to get this program rolled out. And what she quickly realized is that if I just get in the room and explain it, everything is cleared up. So they sat around for 8 months with an ineffective reward system, incentivized system for their employees, when really it took 10 minutes in a meeting room just to help people figure out, you know, what was supposed to happen with this job. So I say all that just to say, you know, I think we could all really just have to self-analyze. What is my role in the team? How do I make 2024 a better year? You know, with the theory that maybe resources stay the same, maybe they grow, maybe they lessen. And how do I become the you know, how do I optimize, you know, the team from my position to make this year better? And I think that the answer to that is, do you understand your system? Are you adhering to your system? And if you're adhering to it and, you know, you're not getting the results you want, then, you know, you have an ineffective system. And that's what, you know, might need to be addressed here. And so, you know, as parting thoughts of 2024, again, I just kind of wanted to recap. I mean, this is really what we've been talking about all year. And, you know, I just really wanted to put a bow on this and just talk a little bit about it, because I think it matters. You know, my experience, even just on this podcast, was as a kind of junior developer coming into software. It's pretty new, you know, and now the more and more I gain understanding, the more I realize that, the problems that exist often, reason why digital transformations fail is really for three reasons. Two minor reasons are competency of, whether it's developers or whoever, which is very fixable. There's so many resources online. I just handed you some. That's a big reason, but not the reason. A secondary reason is either under management or micromanagement, and so you've really got to assess which are we at the right place, and you know what, that's a pendulum, and that's what if you're not a man, if you have a manager or like a data architect, one thing that you have to realize is that pendulum swings. Right. Sometimes you're a little more involved. Sometimes you're a little less involved. It's never going to be perfect, but you should always be striving to figure out, am I doing enough, or am I doing too much, or am I doing, am I doing too much? Am I doing enough, or am I doing too little? Right. So I think that's a big thing, but the number one thing comes back to your system and digital transformation, a lot like, whether you've ever built a house, seen a building get built, maybe you pass by it all the time at, you're on your morning commute, and, they're putting up this new space, and every day you're going by and you're just seeing more and more things kind of get added, and you see the progress of that building. There's a system behind that, and the system drives the outcome. And just like an architect, you can't mess up building a building. You can't build a whole building and be like, well, we built the building, wasn't quite right though, let's start over. Well, we built the building and we missed some foundational pieces. So, we got to go back and change that, right? Well, let's just level it all. I mean, when have you ever seen a building get built just for them to level it and have to build it again? Why would we do that with our software? Why would we build software just to tear it back down? When in all reality, if we just managed the system better, we would have gotten it right the first time. So, these are just some thoughts going into 2024. We're going to have a lot of guests. We're going to shift focus, I think, into, some deeper topics, some topics that really spanned, resource management, a lot more subject matter experts are coming in 2024. So I'm really excited about that. But, I really just want to put a cap on this year and tell you guys, one, we're so thankful that you guys listened. We're so thankful, for all of our listeners, everybody who's downloaded this year. Thank you so much. And if you're looking for 2024 to be a better year, all of these things matter. Man, we love the software community. We love digital transformation. It's what we do. It's what we're passionate about. It's what we love. And we want to see the best for you. We want to see the best for your company, for your employees. We want people to be happy. We want people to be excited when they go to work. And I think that we can attain that. I think what we can do to make our teams better is just make them happier, make clarity of communication clear, let the outcomes speak for themselves, make sure we have the right things in place to do all of that. So I hope you guys have a phenomenal start to the year. I hope you have a great holidays. I will not be back as soon as we start 2024. Baby Lemke is coming here any day now. So it'll be Ken driving for a little bit through January. But man, I'm so excited to get back. So excited to talk to more people, more guests, and really just try to be a resource for you, whatever level you're at, whatever position, whatever seat you hold within the digital transformation team. I just hope that we can provide you a little bit of perspective that's going to help. So thank you guys so much for listening, and we will see you back in 2024.